Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and this is Jeff, aka the Blockchain Report. How's it going, brother?
Doing good. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Enjoying the day, even though I was kind of disrupted earlier by some landscapers, but we got some work done and yeah, doing good. How's everyone doing out there? How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing all right. Just watching KTA, two of the channel favorites, KTA and Mammo
Ooh.
Pump this morning.
Mm-hmm.
My portfolio's up a bit. And speaking of which, I got a little funny pulled up here. And it says at the top, when your portfolio's down 40%, but your friend's portfolio's down 70%. Oh, there we
Oh,
go. Yeah, as I
did we
said,
lose you?
yeah,
Oh no.
that little kid cracks me up, man. Yeah, it's
Oh no. Where'd he go?
all right. There we
Oh,
go. All
we
right.
lost you,
Yeah, we
Mike.
got a little storm going on, so yeah, I was just
Oh
saying that little kid cracks me up, man. They just he's like he's but
hey,
so
that feels
yeah,
good
no,
though.
it's
It feels
I had
good
actually
being in DeFi.
absolutely. What's that?
Mm-hmm. I said that feels good being in DeFi because even though your portfolio is still down a little bit, if you're getting those rewards, man, it feels nice because you're just
No,
racking up the crypto. You're just racking up the
no,
crypto.
it really does. I mean, it's. I know it sounds bad, but it feels good when when I look at and see everyone complaining about prices and how the market's boring and stuff like that. And I'm trying to tell people, I mean, even if you're just staking or lending, you're still hodling your bag, but at least you're earning something. If it's just sitting in a wallet, it's not doing anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just I try to preach the good word, but people, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I guess that's the best way
Mm-hmm.
to put it.
Yes,
So,
sir.
but well, I mean, do you want to kick off the socials and then we'll get right into this
Yeah.
project?
Let's get into. Oh, I mean, where's your screen? There we go. Oh, my screen's not even up. Let me get this up here. There we go. Welcome, everyone. We appreciate y'all for joining us here at DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, where we go live every Monday and Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Mike also goes live with a different crew on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Couple a finance expert and lawyer, so an estate planner, and they go over some incredible information bridging the gap between traditional finance and decentralized finance. And also our brother channels, Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, BitLab Academy, DCA Consortium, and me at the Blockchain Report for all of your crypto needs, information from news to degen stuff to trading technical analysis, airdrops, and just an amazing community that we're building out. And we appreciate you all for being here for the ride. And you can catch us on Twitter at the_only_DCA, Vet at Veteran4Crypto, zoom in, and me at the BCR142. Also, our Discord. Let me pull up the Discord. We have our our DeFi Crypto and Airdrops Discord, which is separate from the Discover Investments group. But this is a totally free. We got the DeFi chats and the tracking sheets, very important for making sure that your liquidity pools are actually making you money and you're not just burning on fees or impermanent loss. So a lot of great information here. And also check out the Discover Investments group Discord. That goes live in there each week, every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday and every Saturday we do the DeFi mastermind, kind of round table where we're going to start doing one to where it's like more entry level stuff, and then one where it's more
Mhm.
advanced, like more advanced strategies and stuff like that. A lot of people have been learning quite a bit, and I think they're ready to bump it up a notch.
Okay. Is that free or is that part of the
Oh
paid
yeah,
discovery?
no, it's
Okay.
everything that I do. I try to make free, just so it's
Okay.
accessible to all. And
Yeah.
actually, while we're talking about it, this Wednesday, I talked to Jake Call, a really smart DeFi dude. He's the one that owns Metrics Finance and those tools and stuff like that. Actually, doing an interview with him this Wednesday at 10 o'clock Pacific time, noon Central time. Did I lose you? There you are. Can you hear me?
10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m.
or Central Time. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You uh, maybe I need to refresh. Am I lagging?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's for me. I mean, I got a pretty good storm going on right now, but yeah, it's like cutting out more than it's on.
Man.
All right. Oh shit. There we go. All right. Well, I'll start jumping into it. Um, so the project that we want to talk about is this. Oh shit. Hold on. Let me share my screen. There we go.
Is that better? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
Oh man.
Key or Kai.
Am I back? Oh no.
Damn. What is going on here?
I don't know.
So
Am I back?
yeah,
Am I
yeah.
good?
So is
What?
it Kai or Key? How do you pronounce it?
I think Key.
All right. Well, it's a
Key
Key
Chain.
Chain, and it is an FX markets for stable coins and RWAs. So the reason that that I put the title that I did is I I honestly think that there is going to be a lot of players for this market. So, of course, Ripple was the first mover, first to the game when it comes to cross-border payments. And at the time, there was nobody else in crypto that was really addressing that issue because but it is a major pain point. And Ripple was very very smart to go after this because anybody that has tried to do cross-border payments, you understand that it is insanely expensive and insanely slow with a lot of manual processes to do cross-border payments. Like right now, it takes 5 to 10 business days. Half the time, not half the time, but a lot of the time, the payments can fail, and it costs a lot of money to do cross-border payments. And and then all along the way, there's manual processes that people can things up. So, with the Swift system. So, Ripple, in their wisdom, was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so that's why they started building out ODL, on demand liquidity. which evolved into Ripple payments. And so I've been talking about, kind of how the environment has changed and even how XRP's offerings have changed with the adding of RLUSD and USDC to the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger, for the most part, it's XRP is now a gas token, and in only very specific use cases is XRP used for for low liquidity swaps. Currencies where there isn't a ton of liquidity available. It acts as the
Mhm.
liquidity, or aka bridge asset. Now, Key Chain initially, my initial look is it eliminates a lot of these issues that even XRP has. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to give you the alpha. We're going to give you the details. You can make up your own mind. This isn't meant to be FUD for XRP, but it is definitely information, that you need to have an open mind for anytime that you're in investing. You cannot marry your bags. If there is new information, if there's new technology, if there's new data, you need to make sure that you integrate it into your thesis. If you don't, you're
Mhm.
not investing smart. You're investing emotionally, and you're going to get wrecked because emotion is the killer of portfolios. So I just wanted to preface it with that. This isn't meant to FUD anybody out. Ripple is very connected. They are, already doing great things. However, you might want to diversify a little bit. So I'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
So if you want to go ahead and take it from here, I got a couple things. I got the team pulled up whenever we hit that spot, and then I also have the white paper pulled up when we get to that portion of the fundamentals.
Oh yeah. Let me is my screen let
You
me
have to
get my
bring it back
screen
up.
back up. Yeah. And add. Boom. So this funding is not up to date on the screen. So
Oh, and if
one
we get to
thing I
something that we need to ask Miles for, I got Miles pulled up too.
mm, nice, nice. How's Miles been doing?
Oh, he's doing good. We've been chatting all day.
Nice, nice. So yeah, CryptoRank is a great place when searching for projects, and usually they'll have the team on here. In this case, they don't. So what we like to do is look for the team, the backing, like what kind of funding they have, and if it's a project that's actually building something legitimate. If you can't find a lot of information or the most up to date, or it's kind of gated, like right here, you need to upgrade to premium service. Just dive a little deeper, go to the website, and usually they'll have a blog page that you can go to, and they, I think it's at the bottom, but they actually will post stuff on their blog with articles, and they have the most up to date funding available on there. So look a little bit deeper, during your research, so you can actually find up to date stuff. See right here, it talks about 20 million in capital, which is huge. And the founders are out of South America, right, Mike? You said Argentina, Brazil, and
Yes,
Colombia.
yes.
Yeah, the Colombia's based.
The CEO is out of Bogota, Colombia. The CTO is in Brazil. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the city. And the CMO, the chief marketing officer, is in Argentina.
Cool, nice. Yeah, and you can see that they have been. If you go back, and I love to do this on projects, is look at their blog and see how far back they've been posting. Or
Mm.
I've even seen projects that have changed and still had their old blog post from the previous project on there. But you can look back, and this is May 2023. So their first blog post 2 years ago, and now they have 20 million in funding, backed by was it Nimbus Capital and others. So, like I said, it doesn't have to overtake XRP, but there's enough space in other countries, that they can especially capitalize off that market.
Well, I
Um,
mean, my initial thoughts when I saw this, because the one use case where you have to use XRP still in Ripple payments is, again, it's in non-US dollar backed stables, or assets. So basically, this addresses that. That's what this is meant to do, is to allow liquidity for those off swaps. So, I mean, it's if it manages to take that market, Ripple takes the USD backed market, because most banks and institutions, they're going to want to use a stable asset to move value. Because I always use the example of, if you take $1 billion, you try to send it cross border, and the price of the underlying asset, in this case XRP, if it even drops a 0.5% when you're sending $1 billion, that is $5 million that you lost. No bank or
mhm.
institution it wants to lose $5 million in a transaction. Ripple
Nope.
understands this. They sat down and they talked with them. That is why they came up with RLUSD. That is why that they added USDC, and added everything to Ethereum, is for
Hmm.
liquidity. And people have to understand that this is evolving. And as it evolves, you need to understand how it's evolving, or you're going to get wrecked. And again, I'm not saying that this is going to kill XRP, but it definitely is addressing a shortcoming of XRP. So they could both exist and be doing different parts of the same operation.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna have all these stable coins anyway that are gonna need to have certain regulations, I guess, depending on their functionality and features too. So you can't just rely on USDC or USDT necessarily, because what if something did happen and one of those two get depegged, or God forbid, like there was fraud in the whole underlying of the assets and shit, but
Well,
you
they're pegged to
you
the
would
dollar. What
have
if the top? What if the dollar goes to shit? If they're pegged to the
yeah.
dollar, then they go to shit too. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
because what is some of them
oh,
are
go-
backed by like a basket of assets, right?
well,
Um,
for the most part, it's a little over 50% of USDT, because we looked it up the other day. Is US backed or US Treasuries, and a little bit on top of that is US debt. And then USDC, I believe, don't quote me on it, but I believe that it's also backed by basically US debt or US Treasuries. So, so yeah, again, it's
hmm,
a very interesting. I mean, if anything, I mean, if it didn't destroy them, it would definitely depeg them, and you can't have that. And so, again, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As more stable coins that are potentially backed by other foreign currencies, the Russian ruble, the Brazilian real, the Mexican peso, whatever. If they all come out with a stable coin, then there's, to back their currency, a digital asset that represents their currency, so that you can do cross border payments on chain. Then there's a up and coming projects. There's Ripple, there's this one, and they're all kind of vying, for that market, and it's a huge market. It might not be
hmm.
one that rules them all. It could be that, depending on what assets that you're sending and receiving, you use a certain, and then of course you got interoperability. Part of this one, as we dig into it, there's an interoperability aspect to it, to where if it can't you know uh, complete the transaction, potentially then it could have XRP, XRPL complete the transaction for it. I believe XRP is using what, Chainlink for interoperability now?
What were they using before?
I don't think they were before. That is one thing that
Oh,
I do not know. Let me actually look it up real quick.
interesting.
And can you? I'll look that up because I want to make sure
Yeah.
that I get that right. I don't want to give bad information.
So yeah, they up to 12,000 transactions per second. Um, built for RWAs, PlayFi, and CreditFi, which are going to be very important. Less than a second block times, and gas fee scalability designed for micropayments in emerging markets, leveraging all EVM compatible infrastructure, built with Solidity. So cross chain, and you can uh, you can bridge into the Cosmos ecosystem too. In the testnet that we'll dive into in a bit, that's one of the tasks is to send key tokens over to Cosmos. So yeah, here's some of the ecosystem. They got their cross-border payments, their Key Exchange, their Key Dex, their decentralized exchange. So this Key X is their centralized exchange, and it does have a KYC feature. And I think this one is actually live. So the Key Dex is on the testnet, which you don't need to KYC for. So don't worry about that. They got their Wallow Bank, digital banking and financial services for Latin America. The Mansa Finance, financing solutions for businesses in emerging markets. Moneto, the stablecoin settlement layer for Latin America. So it's good that they target the one area first, and then kind of expand out, because that's at least what some of the Chinese car companies did initially, like the ones that
Mhm.
have actually been successful. They just, target that niche audience and then build out from there, and been pretty successful. And I think other countries, the way they've adopted crypto regulations much quicker, I wonder how far along they are versus where we sit.
Yeah.
I mean, that
So
really fucked
so
us up, man. The
so,
SEC.
so I owed a link. I just remembered earlier today. He messaged me, and I just looked it up as well to confirm. But
Mm,
Ripple is using Chainlink.
okay. Nice. Thank you.
No
IOTA
problem.
link?
Yeah, it's just he's in the chat. When I posted the episode to put it out on
Ooh.
the interwebs, he had mentioned something about it. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's why we love the engagement, man. You guys definitely help us. Um,
keep the
what
facts
is it?
straight.
Cloud 99? Yeah, Cloud 99, XRP, Link, Axelar, Wormhole. Was he talking about?
No, different guy. It's
No, I see that, but I didn't know if what he was referring to here with the Link, Axelar, and Wormhole. Is that what they use?
oh, let's just move on.
Hmm.
I want to talk about this
Yeah,
project. We set the stage with XRP.
yeah. All
So
the maxis, don't leave us. So,
well, I just want to cover this and just give the alpha on this, and then at the end we can take questions and go
yeah.
back and forth with people. I want to make sure we get this information out because this really is a really good project from what I was able to divine from it. Solid team with the background. I'm actually really excited to get to that as soon as you're ready.
Yeah, let's dive into the team.
All right. Let's see. Let me go to here. All right. So this is Daniel. He's the CEO. and his background looks pretty tight. So for the past 4 years, 8 months, he is the co-founder and CEO of Kii Global. Before that, he was the managing director at Immersion Capital for 3 years, a $4 million digital asset over-the-counter trading fund and market maker. He was the founder and CEO at BioSmart for 7 years, a biotech and pharmaceutical fulfillment across Latin America, director of financial planning at Campalo, or Compollo, yeah, third largest
Compollo?
poultry company in Colombia,
Hmm.
um, and then BBC Management, growth capital PE fund. So I mean,
Ooh.
so he spent, and there's, he has other experience,
So
asset
actual
manager,
traditional finance stuff?
a lot of traditional finance
Yeah.
stuff, which is I really like to see because he understands traditional markets and the pain points, the issues that traditional finance had. And these types of projects are meant, those are called pain points. Whenever whenever a company has an issue that is preventing profitability or efficiency or anything like that, that's referred to as a pain point. And whenever you are coming up with uh, you know projects like this that are addressing a pain point, the the more deeply felt and the more widespread the pain point, the more potential for profitability that you have. So, somebody like this understands the breadth and the scope of the issue of, being able to move liquidity cross borders for, business. Looks like they're addressing micropayments, making it to where it's so cheap and so fast that, say that you are a worker, from the Philippines that's working in Dubai as a housekeeper, and you want to send some money home. It used to be Western Union would bend you over, to be able
Mhm.
to send money home, but now with crypto, you can send crypto to send money, and then they can just off ramp it into whatever they want. So, they understand these things, and that's, what's important is, they're not just going after institutional money and banks. They're going after the, smaller peer-to-peer payments as well. So, love to see that. So, next up, we have, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Jehelism, I don't know. So, this is the CTO. The CTO, he has been there for 8 months, and he's familiar with the Cosmos SDK and Solidity, which is Ethereum. Brick Adobe, he was there for 3 years, 1 month. He was a lead blockchain developer and project manager. Before that, same company, project manager and Rust blockchain developer. And then before that was a DevOps developer. Before that
Hmm.
was a Solana blockchain developer. Before that was a full stack developer. And before that was a freelance developer. Let's see what else. And that's about it on him. And then the CMO is a pretty young dude, Nico. He's the one that's in Argentina. And he has been at Key for 7 months. Before that was the marketing and communication manager at Web3 Familia. Uh, a lot of marketing and communication background. This one, uh, for 5 years, 5 months. Brand manager here for 1 year, and then was a co-founder and director of communications at Unified Latam, and that was 2 years, almost 3 years. So it looks like they have, fully doxed, strong team with strong backgrounds in their given fields. Love to see that.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So let me pull my screen down and put yours back up. All right. What like? Do you have anything as far as financial backing?
Nimbus Capital. It was shit. I just yeah, they had it in that article in their blog. Shit. I just let me pull this
Oh
back up.
man. Well,
Is the
until you got that pulled back up, I'll go on. So, the Key Exchange is a hybrid centralized decentralized exchange platform designed for on-chain FX. FX is a foreign exchange, so basically, swapping currencies um, for trading, cross-border payments, and finance solutions. What is Key Exchange? Key Exchange is an on-chain FX desk powering global payments, trading, and finance solutions in an easy-to-use platform designed for everyone. Users, businesses, or builders can use KeyX by signing up for an account or connecting to APIs. So they're going to have APIs that can be integrated into other apps or dApps. I was reading Web 2 and Web 3 compatible. KeyX differs from other traditional platforms by its hybrid approach of sourcing liquidity and maintaining balances on chain exposed to local currencies. KeyX supports fiat swaps and pay ins, payouts via the pricing of local non dollar stablecoins and other tokenized real world assets. So there's a hybrid matching engine. At the core of KeyX is a hybrid matching engine that is able to source on chain liquidity across any blockchain ecosystem. While that's important, I'm going to read that again. At the core of KeyX is a hybrid matching engine that is able to source on chain liquidity across any blockchain ecosystem while using centralized pricing to hedge and rebalance on chain positions. The result is an ultra liquid layer that can operate
uh
24/7 on certain pairs that only have liquidity during traditional business hours.
damn. So if
I
one
want
has more liquidity, you'd be able to move real quick. That's the thing. If you're moving to from traditional market hours to 24-hour markets, I mean,
Mhm.
you're gonna want to have liquidity all around available like that. So
All right, I'll read these last two. Are you about ready?
yeah, I
All
found
right,
them.
let me read these last two. Connect to APIs. So KeyX has developed a suite of APIs that enabled all centralized and decentralized functionalities into a single set of APIs that any application can use. For more information on the APIs, visit. So technically, Ripple could use this technology to augment theirs, by integrating
Mm,
an API. So
yeah.
they could end up working hand in hand. KYC and AML, know your customer and anti money laundering. KeyX
hmm
is fully compliant within each jurisdiction. Users must adhere to KYC and AML standards and requirements. This is like the evolution of cross border payments. Yeah, absolutely, Wingo. I'm not sure what you mean by no, they won't. I don't know that. You don't know that. Wingo Pingo, you need to pass regulations. Absolutely. That's what this is KYC AML fully compliant in different jurisdictions. If it's built
hmm
out, these newer chains are built out in a modular fashion, and they're fully upgradable without taking the whole system down. That's the beauty of them, is they can actually, as legislation is rolled out, they can upgrade their KYC and AMLs to remain fully compliant. Same thing with Plume Network. Plume Network, that's working directly with the US government, They are building out theirs. They're working with Ondo. They're working with BlackRock for the tokenization of real world assets. We talk about them all the time here on the channel. They are built out in a modular fashion. So as new regulations emerge and get signed into law by different regulatory bodies around the world, they can update in real time so that they remain compliant. And again, you don't have to take the whole system down to upgrade the system. Make sense? This is why we're here is for us to get to educate ourselves, and for you all out there to get educated with us. This isn't about tribalism. This isn't about maximalism, and this isn't about FUD. This is about knowledge. We're here to educate.
Yeah, and that's really important because, like you said, it can work together with other projects and technologies. But specifically, like I was saying earlier, this is in Latin America starting out. So right here in the blog post, they say that Nimbus Capital is behind the strategic investment. So
Nice.
24 million, along with In-On Capital, Super Cycle Capital, Kahuna Ventures, and some others. And Nimbus Capital said that we are excited to support Kii Global in its mission. We firmly believe in its ability to transform key sectors such as finance and asset management in Latin America. So they're working together over the next 4 years to drive the evolution of Kii Chain, innovation solutions at the infrastructure and technology level. So remember, this isn't just about America. America's got their own rules and regulations for banking and infrastructure, and so does Latin America, so does Asia, all that, and everyone has to have their own regulations, but we also have to have one common way of integrating everything, or one.
Well, it needs to be cross-chain.
Yeah, cross chain, so it all works together, but you still need your own, regional, regulations and stuff. So, we can't do our U.S. regulations over there the same way.
Well, look at it this way. One thing that is always brought up when it comes to cross-border payments and U.S. Dollar-backed stable coins and things like that is you got BRICS. It's Brazil, India, China, Russia, South Africa. I think Saudi Arabia joined them, and a couple of others. And it's basically countries, and Iran. There's a bunch of countries that are looking to move away from the dollar. They don't like how the U.S. has used the dollar as a economic weapon against other countries. As far as trying to force people to do what it is that they want them to do. So there is room out there for other groups like this to and maybe this will end up being BRICS, XRP, because they don't want to use dollar backed assets, and potentially don't want to work with a U.S. company. It just, we're so early, we don't know yet. Could Ripple take over the world? Absolutely. Could it go out of business? Absolutely. We don't know. Nothing is set in stone yet. This is like the .com era, back when, before, when anything with a .com after it got money thrown at it. We're at that phase. No one is deeply ingrained in anything yet. About the only thing that really has its feet planted right now, it feels like Bitcoin, because, so many people are scrambling to stack it, that it feels like that it's, has a solid foundation. Pretty much everything else is up in the air. They're building, banks and institutions are building on Ethereum and those sorts of things. But as this technology evolves and as AI evolves and makes it easier to build on other chains, who knows? Ethereum could go away one day. People could stop building on Ethereum. And as newer chains come out, and as quantum computing and those things, if they become a reality, who knows what they're going to come up with. We are living in an age of just almost daily, compute power is, doubling and tripling and quadrupling. I mean, it's just, everything is speeding up more and more. do not get tunnel vision on any one project. Get in on good, solid projects. Make sure that you take profits and diversify. Anyway, sorry, couldn't continue.
No, that's great. It's you want people to know and at least be knowledgeable about what's going on and how important
Absolutely.
some of this financial stuff is because it can go over a lot of people's heads if they and a lot of people aren't really paying attention like that. So it's
A
good
lot
to
of
get
people
a
don't
little
have the
bit deeper.
time.
Yeah, no.
No, I mean, dude, it's like, I mean,
Really,
you
yeah.
can you could spend a whole weekend reading up on one project. By the next weekend, you know, infinite amount of, aspects of it could have changed. I mean,
Yeah.
everything moves so fast in crypto. I mean, in DeFi, I'm retired and I sit here for hours a day just learning about specific projects. And luckily, we have a Discord where our community, keeps, will pop news up and stuff like that. It's like, oh shit, something changed. I need to go and learn about that. So, I mean, we have a great community that keeps, that keeps me up to speed.
Yeah, they're fantastic, man. But yeah, as
Pengu.
far as the their biggest threat, yeah. Oh, Pengu.
Yeah, he's all Pengu is the Pengu of the entire Pengu. All
The
right,
entire
cool.
the Pengu of the Pengu.
All right,
So
Penguin.
so Key Chain, they have their test net that they're building out,
Hmm.
and you can they have a wallet that you can get, but I think you have to it's like a developer wallet. So you can join the test net for free, which we're going to show you how to do. And you will earn these Oro points that will convert to Key token when, airdrop rewards table, and you can see the rate and stuff. So it is a little, worth your time. So we're going to join the test net with our show wallet and sign up and activate, get locked in. And I would recommend participating. Like with Plume, I got the Plume airdrop. That was free for
I hate you.
participating, and it was, man, it wasn't as much as I was hoping for, but it was
I did.
still
It's just such
nice
a
to get an
great
early.
project. I would have loved to. I mean, I'm hoping that season two I get a decent airdrop. I've been farming the shit out of it.
Oh my gosh, it's sometimes you get some technical issues with this wallet, but I'm going to log in with a different wallet.
I might need to snuggle rebalance my KTA.
Oh yeah, you at the top?
Oh no, I'm at the bottom. It's the one
Oh,
I closed out the one that I was in because I went into my second one, and I'm hoping it keeps pumping so it goes so I can close that one out and go. It will go into my third ranged position.
oh, nice. Yeah, got to
I'm
have
doing
that strategy for.
I'm doing the staggered thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Those are good, man, because it's less stress. You're like, okay, if it goes out, whatever. I still got these other ones.
Oh shit!
Nice.
Catechus said he just joined. I think he just joined the test net.
Oh shit, nice. I didn't even know if he said he just joined Pengu, because the Pengu is the
Oh
entire
shit!
Pengu.
Black Ice, thanks, brother. He just reminded me to do my
Yeah.
spin. Let me do my plume spin.
Okay, so you got this whole dashboard down here. If you scroll down after you sign in with your wallet, um, for users, they got all this stuff. Follow on X, and we have to connect our X account in order to participate. So I'll go ahead and do that right here. Connect your wallet. Do all that. We're gonna hit this capture real quick. Oh, and your email address too. Sometimes the security verification doesn't like to work, so I might not be able to do this right here.
Motherfucking raffle tickets.
Yeah, my security verification is not working. So that sucks because I can't sign up on this web browser right here. God damn. I'm going to have
God.
to use my other account right now. Yeah, something
All
with
right.
Cloudflare and these fucking verification captchas, it's terrible, man. I have to switch browsers and all kinds of shit.
All right.
All
Well, while
right.
you're doing that, let me read Wingo Pingo's chat. Oh, hold on. It went down. So Wingo Pingo says XLM, XDC, XRP, HBAR, Quant, Algo. Yeah, they're ISO 20022 is just a messaging system. I mean, it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be. Santander Bank has already switched to RippleNet. All right. Using the XRP ledger for liquidity, even if other blockchains are faster, deals um, are are being made now. The thing is like I said, Santander can use the XRPL. Other banks, from what this is saying, they can use this, and it's cross chain. So, basically, XRP, and the XRPL potentially would be able to communicate with this, and it would be able to communicate with that. So Santander would be able to send to other institutions that are using other solutions, and vice versa. It's there isn't going to be one ring to rule them all. That's you need to get out of that mindset with cross chain compatibility and interoperability. It's not going to be, again, one chain to rule them all when it comes to cross border payments. So again, all we're saying here, we're not saying sell all your XRP. All we're saying is you might want to think about, as it pumps, taking profits and moving those into other projects and diversifying your portfolio. Have more than one horse in the race. If one horse dies, then you have other horses running. Don't just have one horse. It's like, that's
Yeah.
all we're saying here.
Oh, well, I've moved, my layer 3 tokens. I had like $1,400 in layer 3 and I moved it into the black token
Yeah.
and into the liquidity pools, and I'm already up like over 150 bucks in a couple weeks. So, and I've had that sitting staked for a year, like basically just not really earning shit. And I was like, God, oh my
Well,
gosh, I
like I
can't.
said, I had 40,000 XRP that I had XRP, XLM, HBAR, Algo, Quant. I had all the ISO tokens, and I for like 4 years I was stacking those things. And
Oh
when
my gosh.
when RLUSD came out, and I saw that some things were changing about it, and I started learning about DeFi. That initial pump on all those tokens, I sold. I sold everything because
Oh
I
shit.
honestly I think DeFi and DeFi and RWAs is going to be the big narrative. I mean, you can already
Yep.
see it. Anytime that legislation is being talked about or voted on, it's always about RWAs, stable coins, and the tokenization of real world assets and DeFi. I mean, at the uh, Bitcoin convention in Vegas, I watched that whole thing live, and I think they talked about DeFi more than they talked about Bitcoin.
Really? That's
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the amount of assets that are around the world, and the the main utility would be to tokenize them and make them, some
What?
of them NFTs, and there's a lot of importance for real world assets.
Well, I mean, I'm working with a group right now that wants to tokenize a legal fund. My cousin, he owns a shipping company, like an international shipping company, and they're wanting to tokenize their container ship. because if they can tokenize their
Ah.
container shit, then they can have anybody that wants to invest $100 or people that want to invest millions. They can just buy however much that they want. They can use that liquidity to buy another ship, fund operations, whatever. It's fractional ownership. If you want to buy a property and you want to use it as an Airbnb, and you can tokenize it, people can invest in it. It can be automated to where when as the money comes in, people automatically get paid out each month or quarterly or whatever.
Mm.
And you can use that liquidity to buy another property, rinse and repeat. So tokenization and DeFi is just there. It's just insane what it's going to do.
These guys I won't follow. XRP is the one.
Then you're not listening to what we're saying. It's you, by all means,
There's
don't follow
room
us.
for more.
If you're not open minded enough for new information, you're doomed to fail. You are not going to succeed in investing if you are not open to new information. You don't have to
Yeah.
believe us. You don't have to take action based off what we're saying, but you have to be open to listen to new information. If you're not, you are not going to be a successful investor. You're going to be somebody else's exit liquidity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna have to use my my airdrop account because I can't get past this CAPTCHA verification right now. So
Okay.
if you're able to sign up, with your first you have to connect your wallet and then and your email address. So it'll give you a code and then follow on X. So you're gonna connect your X account if you want. You don't have. I mean, you have to if you want to join this. So I think you could probably create a mock account. Yeah, if you want to create like an airdrop account, because I know some X, it does ask you certain permissions that you may not be comfortable with. So if you want to create like an airdrop X account to connect for these projects, that'd be recommended. But follow them on X and join the Discord, and you can claim these Oro points. And you can see right here your Oro balance and what it converts to in Kii. And these, you can see one-time tasks for Oro, and some of these you have to apply for, like this lead and empowerment community role, stand out as a Kii legend. So some of them you don't really have to worry about. This signing into KeyX, you just have to create an account, and this is their Kii exchange, their centralized, more centralized exchange, because they have their decentralized exchange as well. And this one, I was able to create an account, and it's just signing up here, but I'll go into the actual testnet part. Did I drop out again?
No, that was me.
Okay. So KeyX, you can sign up here. And these tasks right here, deposit and withdraw and swap, those are for actual deposits on the KeyX platform. So these three you can't do unless you KYC on this exchange. So you don't have to worry about these if you're not able to access the exchange. And this one as well, the create wise. Oh, no, that's a different one. Down here is where we can get our testnet tokens. And I did a whole video guide on how to go through this, but there's the swap function, staking your Kii, and some of these you can see are weekly tasks, and you can claim your rewards from the staking page. So we'll show you how to claim testnet tokens right here. Explorer our faucet. Not explore, Explorer our faucet. Oh, it's in Discord. So let me see. Sometimes you need to get in the Discord. And where is... Yes. Wait, where is the... I don't see it in there. I think you can get tokens from the Kii Chain. I don't see the faucet in here.
Yeah, I got the exchange pulled up after you're done.
The actual exchange with the KYC?
Yeah, the DEX, yeah.
Oh,
Oh
the
shit.
Kii Dex?
Dude.
Or...
Trusted by enterprise clients, providing liquidity and trading solutions to over 350 institutional clients. There's
Kii X or Kii Dex?
Kii X, their DEX.
Oh yeah. Their actual their main exchange. No, that's so they have their DEX is the decentralized exchange, and that's on the test net, which hasn't launched yet. And their Kii X is their, think of like a Coinbase, like their centralized exchange, and that you can actually deposit into right now. So but you have to KYC.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it now. Just go ahead and finish what you're doing. I'm reading what it is. So
Yeah, and the other stuff, you can. I'll let Vet take over because all the testnet stuff right here. I'll actually be sharing the video on the DeFi Crypto Airdrops page once I'm ready to post it. So I will be updating the link down below in this so you can follow along and participate in this. And there's also a little game that you can play too, which is fun, a weekly game, Hungry Frog. And there's all these other guild tasks and galaxy tasks and stuff that I dive into in the video breakdown. And also a section for builders where you can deploy a smart contract on the testnet, launch a liquidity pool on the decentralized exchange right here, and sending Kii tokens to the Cosmos hub. So all this stuff you can interact with for free. And I'll let Vet dive into the exchange real quick. I'll use the little boys' room. You got your screen ready?
Yeah, it's ready.
You signed up?
No, I'm going to share. So this is their. Okay. I mean, this is all in test net. So this is their swap, and where there will be liquidity pools. So of course, there's going to need to be liquidity, but you can see that right now what they have for the test net: Argentine peso, the Brazilian real, the Colombian peso, the Mexican peso, the U.S. dollar, or USDC, excuse me, Tether, wrapped Bitcoin, Tether Gold, but they can add other stable coins to it, other currency backed stable coins. So as far as being able to send liquidity, from, like, say somebody from Mexico wants to send money to Colombia, or vice versa, you'll be able to do it here, peer to peer. This is for people. I mean, it's for anybody, but this is retail. Where retail would be able to do this, and you can basically it's an exchange. It's a currency exchange. Just like you exchange stable coins for whatever project you want to get a hold of, or if you take part of one of your digital assets that you hold in your wallet, like you want to get rid of some of your Bitcoin and you want to get into Ethereum, get ready for the pump that's coming, then you can do that. But again, that's this aspect of it. Now, another aspect of it is this. And so this is the Kii X, and it's the new era of money and finance, cross-border payments, trading, and finance solutions powered by blockchain. So you can see XRP right here. Again, this doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be XRP and this is a
Mhm.
global thing. There isn't going to be one that does it all. It's going to be a hodgepodge because of cross-chain interoperability. There is going to be a hodgepodge of different projects that are in different markets. There's going to be some that banks might prefer because of certain functionality. There's going to be some that retail might prefer because of certain functionality. There's going to be some
Mhm.
countries that might prefer ones that have that support micropayments. It really depends on what it is that people are trying to accomplish. I can't stress this enough. To not get tunnel vision. So you can see here, the Colombian peso USDT. This is the exchange rates. For all these. Just like when you're at the airport, if you're traveling abroad, they have those kiosks that you can go up to, and you can give them U.S. dollars. And if you're in Mexico or you're in Japan, you can exchange it for whatever the local currency is. This is the digital version of that. Wherever you are in the world, with an app or a laptop, on your phone or on your laptop, you'll be able to, get in your wallet, get into your account and be able to swap for whatever you want. And then you'll have, that currency to, make payments and, make purchases and those sorts of things there. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, and how how many people can one system support like that? If you have billions of people trying to come on just Ripple, I mean, at some point, I don't think it's as sustainable. I mean, at some point, you're going to get some
You're gonna get
issues.
choke. You're gonna get
So,
choke
yeah,
points just
you
because of
need
the
to have that.
architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's not about how many tokens there is. It's about the throughput that the that the that the that project, that chain, in XRP's case, XRPL, it's the transaction speed that it's capable of. It's
Mm-hmm.
the throughput, the block time, for that chain. Will XRP, handle, banking institutions? I could see where it could do that, but and I think Ripple knows that it can't handle retail and the volume that retail would throw on the XRP ledger. That's why there's XLM. That's why you know if you look at what XLM is trying to do, most of it is more retail focused, whereas XRP or Ripple is more focused on institutions and banks. They know their product, and they're trying to tailor it for a very niche part of the the cross border payments issue or the movement of liquidity issue. So this one, I mean, they haven't even gone live yet. They're in test net, and they already have three over 350 different enterprise clients that are building on them. So they have 300 plus corporate clients. They have over five institutions or financial institutions. They have 20 plus remittance companies and 30 plus trading firms. And then again, they're interoperable, so they can do cross chain. So liquidity can move across this, from multiple other projects. It's going to be a spider web of projects that are going to be working in this sector. It's not going to be one that does it all. And I actually saw a very level-headed comment in the chat not too long ago, where they were saying XRP to like $6 or $8, this bull cycle. 100%. I totally could see XRP going to, $6 or $8 this bull run. That is not
Mm-hmm.
out of the question. The ones that I laugh at is when they're like, that there's going to be a government buyback and it's going to $10,000 a token, and I'm just like, I hope you're right. I hope you get insanely rich, you know, but the odds are it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
XRP
Um,
has okay, this is just ridiculous. I got to address some of these. John Schillering, XRP has zero competition. Clickbait. You know what? I'll admit the title that I put, it was meant to provoke people. It was clickbait. But saying XRP has zero competition is grossly ill-informed. There is a million ways, not a million, but there is a lot of ways that you can move value right now without Ripple or XRP. I can send USDC to Jeff right now on my phone for free, just out of my Coinbase account. I can use an infinite number of cryptocurrencies to send value right now to anywhere in the world. I do not need the XRP ledger or XRP. There, it's not that unique of a service. The fact that banking institutions want to make sure it's secure and there's certain functionality, KYC and AML and things like that, and compliance issues that are specific to their industry, absolutely. But there is a handful that I can name off the top of my head right now, Plume being one of them, that has native to its chain KYC and AML. This one, native to its chain KYC and AML. And they are modular. So as new laws come out and gets, new regulations get signed into law, these newer projects are modular. Without taking the whole system down, they can upgrade. If Brazil passes a new law that says we're not taking US dollars anymore, then you won't be, they can, that quick, they can actually upgrade. And if Jeff was in Brazil, I wouldn't be able to send him, US dollars. You have
I mean, look
to
at how long
open
it's taken.
your mind.
Look at how long it's taken Ethereum to upgrade. Proof of stake and stuff. You want that kind of slow process when you're changing regulation like that. You need to be able to have that modularity functionality incorporated with it. XRP 8 to 9.
No, and that's highly possible. I mean, those are realistic price points. This bull run, because a lot of really smart people are saying that the crypto, total crypto market cap is about going to go to about 8 trillion to 10 trillion this bull run. I could totally see XRP doubling, maybe even tripling from here. But again, I just please do your research, because there is no way that XRP is going to $100 or 1,000, and it's definitely not going to 10,000. It's just not happening.
Ethereum
Yes,
is a cluster.
Ethereum. I agree. Ethereum is a clusterfuck, and it was not. It's just, yeah. I am not a fan of Ethereum. Trust me. It's expensive. It's slow, but you can't. Again, it's not what I think. It's what institutions think. It's what they're doing, and you can't argue with the fact that everybody is building on it. It's the base network is a layer 2 that's on it. There's workarounds. So,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was just looking at the chat.
I'm going through the chat too. Mooks, yeah, no worry, brother. You can be late. It's all good. XRP is older than ETH. It is, and is already partnered with many banks and governments more than any other company out there. We don't know that. It's because we see a lot of posts about XRP. We might think that, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, hell, JP Morgan Chase, the whole time that they were talking shit about Bitcoin and it's a pet rock, and he'd fire anybody in his company that would that bought crypto, and they were stacking and building back then. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Nobody does, except for the big boys. So making statements like that is not a good idea, brother. XRP $4 easily. I could easily see XRP going to $4.
Oh yeah.
XRP, bad actors gonna win always. XRP started in the 80s. XRP is designed to be expandable and robust. You're gonna have to explain that one.
Like the
Um,
company or the actual like underlying, I guess, idea behind the technology. Because
I don't think he understands the technology because XRP isn't expandable or robust. The XR if using terms like that, you're talking about the XRPL, the XRP ledger that XRP runs on. They
yeah.
think of XRP the XRP ledger as the train tracks. And up until stables were added, XRP was the train and the gas that moved the value. Now you have RLUSD and USDC that can also be
Mm,
the train. And XRP is still the gas for all of it. And the XRP ledger is still the infrastructure or the rails that it all runs on. That's the best way to understand the difference. And then Ripple and XRP, other than that, Ripple, is in charge of the XRP ledger, they do not translate. Ripple could do amazing things as far as partners. It does not guarantee the price of XRP is going to go up. XRP is not a security. There is no contract. It's not a stock in Ripple to where if Ripple is more successful, that it's guaranteed that XRP is going to go up. There was a whole court case with Judge Torres on this that was years in long. I watched it all. I read it all. I watched all the channels. Trust me, I know about XRP. For retail, XRP is not a security because there is no contract that guarantees any sort of dividends to holders from Ripple. However, Judge Torres has not fully ruled on institutional sales of XRP and if that is a security. So that is still up in the air. Facts. You need to learn
mhm.
facts.
We got a couple of
Yes, there are men that are faster than XRP, but none with the partnerships. And even if there isn't, anybody else with more partnerships, shit changes.
mm-hmm.
I mean, Yahoo was the search engine forever, and then here comes Google. It's
Yep.
shit
They're still
changes fast.
around, but they're just uh, less thought of.
Edwin XRP killer, who, what, when? It's again, it was partially clickbait to get people to watch, to open their mind to the possibility that there's other players in this game. And it's not
Mhm.
going to be a one chain that's going to do it all. Ripple and XRP and the XRPL is not going to be moving all the liquidity for everything around the world. RWAs, cross-border payments, micro payments. It's not going to be doing it all. I promise you that. Is it going to have a good chunk? Potentially, very good chance. They do have a lot of really strong partnerships. However, is there going to be other players? And as this technology evolves, are they going to lose market share? There is a potential. The XRPL is an old technology. As the as this evolves, this ecosystem, then there's going to be younger, faster, smarter, more functionality, more interoperability, plays that are going to come along. So keep an open mind. Have any of
Yeah,
us ever used? Oh, go ahead.
he said the idea had started in the 80s.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure people have been talking about getting away from the archaic system
Mm-hmm.
of Swift forever. It's just
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing, nothing out there. And when you're dealing with these massive entities that have a monopoly, they're not going to give it up easily. And they're going to, that's why we had Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler, for all those years that were going after Ripple and XRP, because banks were scared. All these institutions were scared because they had a monopoly. They were the ones that controlled everything. And, they had the money, they had the control. So they were, paying politicians to do their bidding and to, try to destroy crypto. They lost. The cat's out of the bag now. So again, you're going to make money on XRP. Don't get your panties in a bunch. However, all I'm saying is take profits with any project, not just XRP. With any project, you should always be looking to take profits. If you don't, you're going to round trip bags. Make sure you diversify. Get a little bit in a couple of different projects. Use DeFi. There is great ways in our community. I've taken $800 on a couple of different projects and turned it over into over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the case of Plume. That we're just stacking and building bags with free money by earning yield in DeFi. There's so many different ways you can make money rather than just buying one project and sitting on your hands and hoping it goes up. So anyway, like I said, I'm not meaning to sound like I'm just fudding out XRP. It's just, but I really feel like some people need some shock and awe to get snapped out of the social media, freaking cult that I see day in and day out.
Yeah, it's good to have your favorite projects, but to be so hardcore on one, you miss a lot of other opportunities. But not to say you can't support your XRP, but KTA on base is the XRP killer.
That's not even the use case.
Nope.
I appreciate your humor.
Is Ripple stock on the way?
I hope so, because I actually bought the Ripple pre-IPO when I sold my XRP. I'm very bullish on Ripple. So I bought the Ripple pre-IPO. I'm hoping that they end up doing an IPO because I'll be sitting pretty. Yeah, no, Swift is a grossly out, crypto crayon. Yeah, Swift is a something needed to come along. Ripple and XRP, perfect timing. Something needs to replace Swift. Absolutely, I could not agree more with that.
Yep.
This
guy missed out on on XRP too many times.
Dude, I was buying XRP when it was 34 cents. I wasn't as early as some people, but I was stacking. I had 40,000 XRP. It was my largest holding. I did not miss out on XRP, and I sold after it pumped. So thank you very much. I'm doing just fine. Let's see. What else we got? Ripple stock on the way. I hope so, Silver Surfer. Absolutely, I hope so. Yeah, don't marry your altcoins. Absolutely. I have my take profit strategy on my tracker, and I have all, how many tokens I'm selling at each price point for every one of my assets. There's a couple that I'm bullish on that I'm keeping 10%, as a moon bag, but I'm selling them all, even Plume. I'm selling all but 10%.
Yeah.
Atticus, I'm on the deposit withdraw KeyX section now. My only question for the KYC before I start is, will it accept Canadian users? If so, I'll do that part tomorrow, heading to bed soon. I do not know. It's the testnet right now. Oh, you have
no. So there's Key X and then Key Dex. So the Dex is the decentralized exchange, and that's on testnet. but the Kii X is their main fiat on and off ramp, which is this.
Yeah.
And that's their centralized exchange. So it does require a KYC. And this is
KYC and
their,
AML.
but this is live. This is actually live with real assets.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. But their decentralized exchange is still being built out. So this is like, think of Coinbase as this, and what maybe Aerodrome or something as their decentralized exchange on
Yeah,
their
yeah.
test net. So this
Well,
on the
again,
deposit withdraw have
it has interoperability. So again, I mean, they can
yeah.
source liquidity from anywhere.
Yeah, and no, and it's important because they do need some kind of centralized exchange for banking and institutions for you to move your fiat on and off, right? If so, it makes sense that they would have this centralized exchange and building out their decentralized exchange so that way they can integrate the two and have that seamless flow and everything's already regulated and and you have your on-chain identity verification, which has the ZK. I think it's the ZK proofs and stuff. So,
I believe so.
yeah. So here, on their deposit withdraw, I haven't done this yet because I'm waiting for my Palau ID to come in. So it just says requirements are to upload a government issued ID or passport and complete biometric verification. And that's, once I do this, I'll be able to give better clarification on what's required. But
All right.
yeah,
And
so
I'm going to be keeping an eye on this project. And as soon as they have a token, I'll definitely be looking to get in on it. So yeah,
nice.
I'm liking what I'm seeing with this one. But this is a very good comment. KTA has all the use case and Visa partnerships and all RW. Uh, as far as being in direct competition with Ripple.
Oh no, we lost him.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, they're just I don't see them as being in direct competition with Ripple and with what Ripple's trying to do. That Ripple is very focused on banks and institutions. Yeah, no, Uncle Bubba. Yeah, I mean 40K of XRP. No, absolutely. It was my largest holding. I was watching Coach JV and Good Morning Crypto. I was watching Crypto Sunsay. I was watching the Australian dude, the Aussie guy that is always talking about XRP. Um, uh, the Cipher X. I was watching him.
Hmm.
I mean, I was deeply steeped in XRP. I'm not coming from a place again of FUD, and I'm not coming from a place of ignorance. I deeply understand Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. I know all about the court battle. It's there is no aspect of XRP that I'm not knowledgeable about. Please do not just put your earmuffs on and la 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 because you feel like I'm talking bad about your baby. That I'm calling your baby ugly. I'm just stating facts that there is other players in this game. Are they late to the party? Absolutely. Are they going to get a piece of the pie? Yes, they will. So just you got to keep that in mind. I think the market cap of XRP will overtake ETH. That's and I'm not saying it can't happen. But the the amount of people that are building on ETH, the amount of DeFi and RWA and just all of that's being built out on ETH, that's going to be a tall order. Ripple and
Hmm.
XRP with the sliver of use case that they're going for with banks and institutions, there is a whole nother world out there of DeFi and RWAs and just all kinds of other stuff that is already being split up. You can go to here, I'll bring it up, rwa.xyz. We're going to go a little bit long on this one because I'm really enjoying the chat. I mean, please,
Yeah.
keep this keep this debate going. I love that the chat is challenging what we're saying. That's what we're here for. I actually like when my thought process is challenged because it makes me have to really think about my stance and articulate how it is, why I think that way. And if I can't do that, it means that I don't know what I'm talking about and I need to do more research. So please, keep them coming. So you can see, like you come down here, XRP isn't even
Oh,
in the top.
switch screens.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
XRP isn't even in the top 10. You got Ethereum, ZK Sync, Aptos, Solana, Stellar XLM, Polygon, Arbitrum, Algorand, Avalanche, and Plume. When it comes to RWAs, it's not even in the top 10. So, to say that they're going to capture the whole thing is just it's not realistic right now. I mean, hell, Plume, just the mainnet went live like what, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and it's already bigger. When it comes to RWAs, not cross border payments or anything like that, but just with RWAs, because XRP is getting into the RWA arena. They're just not. When it comes to TVL, they're just not in the top 10 yet. Let's see. What else do we got here? Issuers, protocols, securitize, and asset class.
So Uncle Bubba said, you speak with an open mind. There are so many parts to play, and no single one is made to rule it all, even XRP. Algo does something else. It's a giant puzzle.
No, it really is. And the key to this is interoperability. They can all play in the same sandbox. Think of this of a sandbox, and the sand is the liquidity. You got XRP playing with the dump truck. They're moving some of the sand. You got, this project, Kii, they have, their little truck and, they're moving some of the sand. You got, freaking Ondo and they're over there, tokenizing some of the sand. It's just like, there's going to be enough room for everyone to play in this space. All we're trying to say is don't get tunnel vision because you potentially are going to miss out on lower market cap plays that have a lot more upside or a lot more potential for a profit for maybe a 2x or 3x. Because this bull run, potentially, you're looking at a 2x or a 3x on XRP. Would you rather get a 2x or a 3x? Or would you rather, not sell all your XRP, but take some of your profits, get into some lower market cap plays that are in, like a similar use case, and maybe get a 10x, 20x, 30x or more? That's the mindset that you have to have. And then once you make that 10, 20, 30x, if you're still super bullish on XRP, take some of those profits, buy back into XRP, and you can have a bigger bag of XRP if you want. I'm not telling you what to invest in. I'm just telling you to think logically, not emotionally, so that you can make sure that you get through this bull market with as much profit as possible. That's all we're trying to do here is open your mind. And if that took me putting XRP killer clickbait on the freaking thing to get you here to hear these words, it's well worth it. Because again, I was where you were at. I 100% believe that XRP was the chosen one. That Coach and all them, they're at the flip of the switch. every couple of months, the court case was ending and the flip of the switch was coming. It's just it was I just you got to get out of that mindset. So sorry, I'm very passionate about this because I've been where you're at and I'm
Oh
in a
man.
much better place
Hmm.
now.
No, that's great. I mean, we gotta talk about all this stuff because with the emerging tech and stuff, you're gonna have these hardcore believers in certain projects, and it needs to be challenged from time to time. So
Mhm.
and it could really save you one day from getting out of an asset that might just not be worth it long term. So you just never know. Um, the more you know, the better. Yeah, a lot of
All
good
right,
stuff,
let
man.
me finish out the that I really want to address all of your comments. XRPs mainly just got a lot older elites in it. I think because they didn't know what was coming out at the time. I agree with you. And the thing is with institutions is a lot of them are slow movers. So again, I think that those that have partnered with Ripple are going to move forward and they're going to do their thing. And as they're using that, potentially, if XRP is or Ripple isn't able to keep up with their needs, on the side, they might start building with potentially Key or some other project, or potentially build their own. And as long as it's
Hmm.
interoperable, then it would still work with the XRP ledger. It would still work with Key. It would still work with a lot of other projects. So it's just we are in the infancy. We are in the speculation stage. Still we're starting to transition to utility, where we're going to start to see what these projects are actually capable of. They're going to actually have to prove all the claims that they've been making. And I'm not just talking about Ripple and XRP, I'm talking about all of them. All these projects, they're saying they can tokenize things and they can, keep things secure and they can keep things private and they're unhackable and, they never go down and they can do 10,000 like KTA is saying. They're going mainnet's going live next month, and I have a huge bag of it. But they're claiming that they have a TPS of over 10 million, so they can do
Hmm.
over 10 million transactions per second. Is their claim. Next month they're going to have to prove it. I live streamed a stress test that they did, and if you
Oh
believe the
yeah.
stress test, it's true. But again, it was a controlled stress test. What's going to happen when it's live and it's, stuff's being moved from all over the place and having to go through and, it's a real live, stress test. What's going to happen? Is it going to hold up? So we are at that point. So again, all we're saying, keep an open mind, keep open eyes, keep open ears, don't close yourself off to new information. As you're making money, ensure you're taking profits and have a plan. Have in our Discord, our free
Hmm.
Discord, we have a free downloadable tracking sheet that here I'll pull it up real quick, and this will be my closing thoughts, and I'll kick it over to you. I feel like I've freaking monopolized the microphone here. Sorry, brother.
Oh no, man, it's great because you've been way more into XRP and behind the scenes stuff than I have. So this is a great lesson for even myself.
Oh yeah, and so this is my ladder out strategy. So like the different assets that I have, like Arrow and Plume and DAG and Ondo and Link and all these different things, and I have how I'm going to. The hell was that? Um, what percentage and at what price point that I'm going to sell. My different increments that I'm going to ladder out of these assets. And it takes all the emotion out of it. So if things are pumping and I get euphoric and I'm just like, oh, it's going to the moon, I'm going to hold myself to it. I'm going to say, because if I hit all my take profits and I'm just shooting for a 10x on my whole portfolio, I just want to 10x my portfolio. And if I do that, I'll have $600,000. And but I need to stick to my take profit strategy. And again, if you have the mindset that XRP or any project for that matter is just going to infinitely go up, and that every token is going to be worth $10,000 or $1,000 or $100 or whatever, that everything's going to 100x, you are going to be somebody else's exit liquidity. You're going to hold on too long. The top of the cycle is going to come. Everybody else, the musical chairs, the music is going to have stopped. Everyone's going to have a chair, and you're going to be standing there with a bag of whatever your token is, going, shit. I got to hold this for the next 4 years, and hopefully I have diamond hands, and
It's
hopefully
a
it's still
handful
around.
of sand. It's
Yeah,
sand slowly slipping through. Not quite
yeah,
water because that will go too fast, but it's
yeah,
just sand slowly over 4 years, just
exactly.
trickling
So
through.
get out of that mindset that I'm never selling, because you're going to be somebody that's smarter, somebody's exit liquidity, and quite possibly you might be my exit liquidity. So, you know, you do you. I'm not telling you how to invest. I am just here to give you information. Do your own research, invest however you like. But everything that I've said during this episode is 100% factual. And I challenge you to go out there and do your own research. Actually dig into this stuff. That's what this is for. That is why we're here. We make no money doing this show. I love to emphasize this. We do that. This costs me and Jeff money to do this show.
Yeah.
We purposely don't monetize. We don't get paid by YouTube. We don't sell subscriptions. We don't take super chats. We don't charge for our Discord. We don't charge for anything. We do this for free. We're just here because we want to help people. There's nothing malicious about what we're doing here. So, with that, Jeff, closing thoughts.
Game. Real quick, I don't know much about like the excluding competition from the ISO 2022. You know anything about that?
Doesn't iOS hold on, let me find that so I can read it. Doesn't ISO 20022 exclude competition? Why the news talk about banks eyeballing ETH? Let me know, thanks. So ISO 20022 is, it's simply a messaging system, and being compliant with it aligns it with the legacy system. So pretty much it's not a heavy lift to end up being ISO 20022 compliant. And any project that wants to be a part, oh shit, I was like, what is grabbing my leg? Any project that wants to be a part of the traditional system is potentially going to have, unless legislation changes or the rules change, it's going to have to be potentially compliant with it. So it's not like because I mean XRP became ISO 20022 compliant. So did XLM and a bunch of other ones. The ISO, the family of ISO tokens. You had Algorand, XLM. I think HBAR was in there, XRP. But it's not something that's like super unique that nobody else can do. They don't have a monopoly on it.
Okay.
Nice. It's a crazy time, isn't it? I appreciate the feedback. Very honest, y'all got me. I'll be subscribed. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. No,
Oh
it's like
yeah.
like I said. Love to hear your idea about Casper. I've been bullish on Casper forever, but it's a long shot, brother. I'll be honest. I was a huge Casper bull, and for a while I had over 1 million tokens, and I sold a bunch of it off. I still have, a very good bag of it, and still very bullish on it. But they've taken a lot of hits. And again, I loved the project, great tech, and a great use case. But I had to be real. Um, Casper Labs and Casper Network are two separate entities. Casper Labs and the old CEO broke off and went over to HBAR. They were building out the AI infrastructure for IBM. And out of the blue, the CEO took that project and went over to HBAR and left friggin' Casper hanging. The CTO stepped up and took charge and is doing a great job recovering. And potentially they're gonna do great things. But yeah, I mean they've taken their licks. But I'm still
Mhm.
very bullish on it. Cody Solka, XRP is junk. I can't believe they would file for a banking license. It's not junk. I mean, it's. I've used XRP to move value and stuff like that, and I mean it works great. And I think that they have a very strong partnerships, and they're going to be around for a while. They're going to need a banking license. And it's going to do nothing but help Ripple. So let's see. Key is far from being regulated. Based on what? The direct unedited info. I mean, you you can make that claim, but what can you say to back it up? Key is far from being regulated. It's obviously if it has the AML and KYC, and if it is building out with a CEO and a CTO that have a strong tradfi background and understand what is required to operate in this ecosystem, banks and institutions and
Mhm.
stuff, they're going to be building it out, and people aren't going to invest millions of dollars like they have into it if they're not building it out properly. I've
Mhm.
run tech companies. I was the COO of multiple, tech startups and tech companies. I ran operations, and I've sat down with Mastercard, the senior vice president of North American operations. I flew out to New York, went out to a really nice dinner. He busted out one of those black cards,
Oh
and we had
shit.
like a freaking like $10,000 freaking dinner bill, and he just busted out the card. I've been in boardrooms with very high level people and listened to the questions that they ask about projects and startups before they're willing to partner with them, before they're willing to invest. VCs.
Mhm.
I've sat down with VCs and had meetings about if they're going to invest in or not. I understand how they think, and this is just how it is. So saying that they're not regulated, you really got to be able to quantify or validate a statement like that. And we just got done showing you that you're not correct. Um, Cody Solka is just a messaging upgrade. Messaging is how large transactions work. In the traditional system, absolutely. Basically, that's all Swift was a messaging system.
It just have sold all
Uh,
this Casper.
you know what? And you know,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I'm still somewhat bullish on Casper. It doesn't mean everybody has to be. You know what? We're
Mhm.
all here to make money. We all have to make our own decisions. There is nothing wrong with that, Joseph. I hope that you put it in some other projects and you're making some great
Yeah.
money. I
Yeah.
really do.
That's the key. That's the key phrase.
Yeah,
Putting in a project you believe in, not just some fart coin.
absolutely. Meredith Lindsay, what do y'all think the price of XRP will be at the end of the year? I don't do price predictions, Meredith, but a couple people in the chat have stated some very realistic guesstimates, and they're in
Mm.
line with like Drew over at Blockchain Basement. TJ and DZ over at our brother channels over on Discover Crypto. 6, 8, maybe $9. I could definitely see that happening. We're sitting
Mm-hmm.
at about a roughly $3 trillion market cap right now. I've seen 8 to 10 trillion total market cap get thrown around. So, could XRP double or triple? It, possible, very possible. All right, we're done with all
Yeah.
the chat. So,
Nice.
what do you got, brother?
Shit.
Closing thoughts.
Yeah, just not being afraid to reallocate into other projects that might be lower cap, especially if you've gotten into, like you were in XRP pretty low and were able to capitalize off the price movement. If you have done that, my layer 3 that I reallocated into black, I mean, I got the airdrop last year and the token went down pretty much 50%. So I could have had, twice as much to play with
Yeah,
if I would have just kept it out. But I have since reevaluated, saying I don't think the price will appreciate that much to where I can just move it into DeFi and have it work for me and earn at a lot faster pace. And I'm already up a couple $100 almost in just a few weeks. And the price of layer 3 is still about the same. So you and I believe in the project long term, but right now I see better juice squeezed elsewhere. So don't be afraid, even if you believe in the project, even if you're a hardcore XRP maxi and to the moon, but don't be afraid to take a little profits, especially move it into DeFi, have that earn rewards for you. And that way, going back to the beginning, full circle with the video that you showed at the beginning, if your friend's down 70% and you're down 40%, it still feels a lot better because being in
absolutely.
DeFi, oh shit, yeah, it's definitely grateful for the stuff that I've learned so far, and also the community sharing, projects and liquidity pools that might be hot. So you can't have your eyes everywhere. So I appreciate everyone out there sharing their alpha.
Absolutely. No, the Discord is great. And any of you that are listening, if you love XRP, you're more than welcome to come and join the Discord. Again, it's free. We don't charge for it. And and you might learn something, and you might teach us something. There's people in there that, maybe you can talk some of them into investing in XRP. But yeah, no, KTA and Mamo are two of our picks in our channel, and they ran this morning. As far as I know that a couple of people have made comments that I'm sorry that I sold my XRP. I promise you, I'm not. I've made far more in DeFi and in Arrow and other things that I got into. I have far more profits than I would have if I would have just held XRP. Again, I've churned $800 of seed money in Plume that I put in liquidity pools. I now have over $7,000 of Plume from an $800 investment. KTA started out with $800. I now have uh, about $5,700 of KTA. What else? Aerodrome. I started out, I forget how much I started out with. I think it was seven. Oh no, I started out with $2,500. I now have almost $14,000 worth of Arrow
Shit.
from doing DeFi. It's
There
Mammo.
goes money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, the list goes on. It's like, get out of the I gotta buy and hold until it goes to the moon mentality. There's so many ways to make money in crypto. And there's DeFi, there's trading, you can hodl. In DeFi, you can hodl your bags and still earn. You can stake and lend. You still keep all of your bags. There's no risk of liquidation in staking and lending as long as you don't borrow against what you're lending, and you're
Hmm.
earning yield. So you're stacking your bags while you're hodling. It's come and learn with us. Snap
Yes.
out of it. We're not fudding you. Come and learn with us. Love you all. I swear I do. And until next time, Veteran Crypto out.
Peace.